Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Liz, and I'm going to be sitting down and talking about a true crime case. I'm already sitting down, so here you go. We're going to be talking about the Bearbrook murders today. So this is also known as the Allenstown 4. And we're going to be talking about the serial killer that is involved in this case, and he has a nickname called the Chameleon Killer. There's a reason why. This might be a two-part video, so if it is, I'll just talk about him in the second part, and we'll discuss the Allenstown 4. So the reason why it's called the Allenstown 4 is because Bearbrook State Park is in Allenstown, New Hampshire. So all these 4 victims were believed to have died between 1977 and 1981. So the discovery of these bodies happened on November 10th of 1985, and this is when a hunter found a 55-gallon drum near the site of a burned-down building, or a burned-down store. Yeah, it was a store at the Bearbrook State Park in Allenstown. Inside of the drum was the remains of an adult female and a young girl wrapped in plastic. So autopsies were done, and it was determined that they died due to blunt force trauma. So these 2 would be buried in the Allenstown Cemetery with a tombstone that says, "Here lies the remains known only to God of a woman aged 23 to 33 and a girl child aged 8 to 10. Their bodies were found." This is continued on the gravestone. Their bodies were found on November 10th of 1985 in Bearbrook State Park. May their souls find peace in God's loving care. 5-gallon drum. Police believe that all 4 murders occurred roughly around the same time, despite investigators missing the second drum in 1985. So, according to the people that were investigating this case, the reason it took so long for the second drum to be discovered is because it's located outside of the proximity of the initial crime scene. So they weren't looking in that area. If they were, they would have discovered the second drum. So the cause of death for these 2 as well were also indicated as blunt force trauma. So there was an update in this case. They were able to identify 3 of the 4. And I mean, I jumped for joy when they released that they had identified them. So they were able to identify them due to genetic genealogy and pictures from family trees. And literally, it is amazing what they can do with technology right now when it comes to genetic genealogy and being able to let people know that their loved ones are not just lost, that we're figuring out who these people are. So, the adult woman would be identified as Marlise Elizabeth Honeychurch. And she had... Okay, how do I put this? So originally, they estimated her to be about 23 to 33. She had either curly or wavy brown hair, and she was between 5'2" and 5'7" in height. Her teeth showed significant dental work as well, that she had 3 extractions, she had fillings, and then the 3 girls that were found as well had some Native American heritage, as did Marlise. And they also had light or European American complexion, so they were fair. So the girl that was found with the adult female. So we know the adult female is Marlise Honeychurch. The girl that was found with her ends up being identified as Marie Elizabeth Vaughn. Marie Elizabeth Vaughn was the daughter of Marlise, the oldest daughter. So she was between 5 and 11, or that's what was determined. She showed signs and symptoms of pneumonia. She had crooked teeth, front teeth, and a diastema, which is a space between her top teeth. If you didn't know what that is, that's what it is. I have one. I have a tiny one. I used to have a big one, but I have a tiny one. She had earrings, 2 earrings in each ear, and she was between 4'3" and 4'6" in height. Her hair was wavy and light brown, but she had no dental fillings. The middle child is the one that is currently unidentified. And this is the one that has a connection to Terry Rasmussen. So, this child had a gap in between her teeth, which is possible that this correlates to Marlise, if it's like a genetic disposition for them to have a gap between her teeth, then this could be from Marlise. Or at least that's what they thought. So, she is also aged to be between 2 and 4. She had brown hair. She was about 3'8" in height. She had an overbite, and it was probably noticeable. She also suffered from anemia. If you don't know what anemia is, basically it's like a lack of iron in the blood, and I also have it. It can cause a lot of issues when it comes to different medical issues. Like it's possible if I bled out after I had my children, I could have died. Basically, that's what it is. Well, that's like a side effect, if you will. And they just tell you to eat more iron, eat more things with iron, eat more red meat and all that jazz. Anywho, so through DNA, this is how they proved that Terry Peter Rasmussen was her father. In February of 2020, it was announced that DNA analysis suggested that the child was primarily Caucasian with slight Asian, African, and Native American heritage. So when this was announced, they also released an updated version of her facial reconstruction. She is a cute little girl. Like the way that they were able to animate her face to look like that she's smiling is like, you can't imagine that a girl like that can't be identified. So they did test this child against Marlise, and it was determined that there is no biological match. So how you're probably wondering how these two are, like, how they go together. Well, let's talk about the fourth, and then we'll kind of get into that. So the youngest to be found was identified as Sarah Lynn Mcwatters. So Sarah was estimated to be between 1 and 3 years old at time of death. She had long blonde or lightish brown hair, so probably like an ash blonde. So kind of like this color. And she was between 2 feet 1 inches and 2 feet 6 inches in height. And she also had a gap in between her 2 front teeth. So Marlise, lovely Marlise, she had been missing for years. Basically, that's what this is. And subsequently, they figure out and identify them. But that wouldn't be until they go more into like the genetics about this. So I will say, when they started testing, now they started doing the DNA profiling in 2014. In 2013, this is when the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children decided to do updated versions of facial reconstructions. And these versions included their dental information, so none of that was really shown before. And these reconstructions showed the differences in their teeth. If you don't really understand facial reconstruction, they do it on a baseline. So they try not to show any emotion in the face. With these updated ones that the NCMEC did, is to show more character in the face to help see if somebody would be able to identify them. Well, the reconstructions were created in black and white, as they're like the actual skin tone, like they knew they were fair, but not exactly like if it was cool toned fair or warm toned fair. Like I'm a warm tone fair, that's why my face gets red. Some people have a cool tone, which is like more of like a bluish or a gray undertone when it comes to their skin. So, and their eye color couldn't be determined because they didn't know. In 2015, there was a third set of reconstructions of all 4 victims that were released at a news conference that was held. It was live on WMUR, and it was held at the New Hampshire State Attorney General's office. So this is where they held that. Well, in 2014, the police announced that they were doing the DNA profiling, which I had already mentioned, and it revealed that the oldest, party foul. It was revealed that the oldest and youngest girls were related, maternally related, and they were related to that of the woman, but they couldn't tell whether it was their mother, their aunt, their older sister. In 2015, the woman was finally identified as the mother of the 2 girls. So they started that connection of being mother and child or female and child. And then they were able to set it in stone that she is the mom of these 2. So other forensics information that popped up in this case when they were doing the isotopic evidence, investigation, is that they all lived in the northeastern U.S. between 2 weeks to 3 months prior to them dying. They also concluded that the woman and these children lived in an area where their bodies were found, so they lived near this area. They also did the advanced forensic testing, showing that the 2 to 4-year-old girl, victim number 3, obviously that they identified her as Rasmussen's daughter. So they believe that she spent most of her childhood in either upper Northeast or upper Midwest, perhaps Wisconsin. In 2019, however, it stated that the non-related child was most likely originated from either Arizona, Texas, California, or Oregon. Although no other locations they can't be excluded, because they don't have a definitive of where she could have been from. All they know is that she is Terry Rasmussen's daughter. So, June 6, 2019, the New Hampshire state investigators that are working on this case held a press conference, and they revealed that they had identified 3 of the 4 victims. So, Marlise Honeychurch, she was born in 1954. She's the mother of Marie Vaughn. Marie Vaughn was born in 1971, and Sarah Lynn Mcwatters, who was born in 1977. All of which went missing from La Puente, California, around Thanksgiving of 1978. Well, Marlise was dating a man at the time, Terry Rasmussen. This is how their connection comes to light. Marlise had gotten into an argument with her mother, and she left the house. She never contacted her relatives again after this. So Marlise also may have adopted a pseudonym of Elizabeth Evans at the time, and she could have been using this in legal documents during May of 1980. It is believed, though, that all 4 of them were murdered before 1981, as Terry left New Hampshire around that time and after that time. In or around 1981 is when he left New Hampshire. So, Sarah's younger half-brother, so Sarah Mcwatters, her younger half-brother, who he, never met her, he created a post in 1999 on Ancestry.com because he wanted to find her. And he put on there different things about her. She was born in Hawaiian Gardens, California, where her father was in the Marines. And similar posts for this helped in the identification of these victims. So Marlise had previously married Marie's dad, so victim number 2, Marie Elizabeth Vaughn. Marlise had previously married Marie's dad in June of 1971, but they divorced in 1974. And then Marlise went on to marry Sarah's father, which is the Marine, in September of 1974. They separated by the time she was known to be dating Terry. The children both went through periods of time where they were in the custody of their dad, not their mom. But Marlise would regain guardianship of the children. By October of 1978, Sarah's dad was seeing another woman, and Sarah was in the care of her mom, presumably in the care of her mother. So the funeral of Marlise and Marie was held in November of 2019 in Allenstown, during which they gave them a new headstone. It bore their true names, not just where they were found and suspected ages. Their actual names, their actual dates, with 1981 being the presumed year of death. So in attendance were members of Marlise's family and Terry's daughter from his first marriage. Sarah, however, was laid to rest in Connecticut, close to her father's family. So that is why she's not buried with her mom and her older sister. The fourth victim, which is Terry's daughter, has yet to be known. They don't know who she is. All they know and can confirm is that she is the daughter of Terry Rasmussen. They've been trying to find who her birth mother is and whether or not she's still alive or not. In 2020, there was another rendering of her face that was released by the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. But that, my friends, is the part 1 of 2 for the Bearbrook State Park murders. And then in my next one, we're going to be talking about Terry Rasmussen. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Welcome to more craziness of New Hampshire. We're going to get into more craziness with Terry Rasmussen. So yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.